Salutations, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with the new and improved, well, I guess not so new now, but definitely improved Lines of Battle, and our first game on one of the winter maps, which look pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. I love the snow, the ice terrain, the snow-capped trees. It all really looks good. Gives some more diversity to just all of the constant green that we were seeing in the previous version. And this is actually a pre-recorded game, so my camera work won't be as up close as usual. Internet at the new place, still kind of spotty. But thank you to Mr. Ooga Booga for sending this in. I really do appreciate it so that I could get a video casted. And he's going to be playing in the south of the map in the color blue. And if we take kind of a bird's eye view of his army, and we'll see that he has a very strong line infantry corps, and he's definitely weighted his forces on his left flank. It's where he's put the majority of his cavalry. He doesn't have any heavy cav, but he does have 5 dragoons along with 3 hussars, and then just 3 hussars for support on his right flank. And because he brought so many line infantry plus this 1 light, he is going to have 8 skirmishers, which again, these guys are for poking, prodding, occupying good terrain, not very good in melee at all, and if they get touched by cavalry, they basically just fall apart, but still a really useful utility unit. And then he's got 3 grenadiers in the back for a little bit of extra melee power. Now, his opponent, General M, in the north of the map, he is, I think, around 1200 elo, where I think Ooga Booga's close to 1700, so obviously we're going to be giving General M a little more leeway, a little more benefit of the doubt, hoping he pulls off the upset. That would be awesome, but we'll have to see. And if we take a look at his army, on his right flank, he does have line infantry, about 1 to 5's worth. He has a very strong cavalry corps on both flanks, but definitely weighted on his... Oh, actually, I can't tell which flank is stronger because he's got 3 goons, 1 cur, 2 hussar here. But he's got 3 curs, 2 hussar there. I'm going to say this flank is slightly stronger just because of the numbers. But this flank also very strong. That'll be a serious issue, especially if Ooga Booga gets himself caught in a bad engagement over here on some of this flat ground. These 3 curs could do a lot of work. Both players have 4 pieces of artillery. One is a middle battery from Ooga Booga, whereas General M has a middle battery, but then also a small battery on his left flank. Not as many skirmishers here because he didn't bring a ton of line infantry. He did bring a very heavy guard corps, though. He's got 5 guards and 5 grens in reserve. So this is a very powerful army, though. It is a very small army if you look at the numbers compared to Ooga Booga, and that lack of skirmishers, it could play a big role. But with all of that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive in. All right, so both players... okay, hold on. I know I just started the game, but I forgot to look at where the ideal deployment for these guys will be. We've got a river running down the middle of the map, west to east. Okay, neutral objective in the... Oh, that's a terrible circle. Neutral objective in the middle. I don't know. I think General M, as the more aggressive army, he's definitely going to have to try to pull his left wing across this river as soon as possible. I don't know if I like how spread out he is, if I'm being quite honest. And this is, this is something that a lot of newer players do. It's something that I do still a lot, which is spreading your forces to cover the map. But it does mean that one wing is not going to be able to easily reinforce the other. Whereas if we look at Ooga Booga, he could probably station on this hill or even go for the neutral objective, make sort of a slant here, kind of like a, almost like a what would that be? Concave shape. And he could do pretty well for himself, though he does not want to take a direct melee engagement, seeing as he's facing a lot of elite infantry. So we'll just have to see. But overall deployment, the more concentrated Ooga Booga, I definitely like it better. And especially since he's going to have more numbers and more harassing forces. Going to be really good for him. Moving as 1 block here. All right, so where are the artillery going to get set up? It looks like Ooga Booga's just going to keep his in 1 giant battery. Cavalry moving on both flanks. Ooga Booga again staying much more concentrated. Nice move here though. I do like what General M is doing, and I'm going to try to point out the good that he's doing since he is kind of the underdog in this matchup, but he's picked great terrain for his skirmishers. The problem is this terrain, while it's very good, I don't think it's going to be very impactful for the fight because most of the engagement is going to be happening right around here. So this one skirmisher unit, it's not going to be able to hold off all these guys by itself. And while this terrain, while this deployment is nice in a vacuum, it's just not going to be much help for this particular battle. Though, if you can get these artillery stationed here, they'll get some nice enfilade fire down. But, I mean, 2 artillery, it's not going to win you the game. This is not skirmish where you only have like 7 units. So, I think he's going to need a little bit more than that. All right, Ooga Booga continuing to stay concentrated. He's almost moving forward like an AI here, just everything going straight as an arrow, which is actually working for him in this context. Now, he is going to have a bit of a bunch up here. This frozen lake is going to make for very bad ground for his right flank, and I'm hoping that he kind of just brings it in and forms kind of a line here to fend off all of this cavalry. Obviously, he's not going to be able to beat the enemy cavalry with his own, and wow, okay, so there's going to be a big engagement happening here. We have 2 Hussar, 3 Goon, 1 Cur versus 3 Hussar, 4 Goon, and 1 Light. I'd probably give that to Blue just because of that 1 Light supporting. But I don't know, that Cur could do a lot of work as well. So Ooga Booga finally making some adaptions here. And if I go to General M, again, it's just the lack of concentration that has me really worried for him. These 5 guards trapped on the other side of the river, leaving all of this wing isolated. It just means that Ooga Booga can close that line, use his right flank as just a holding force with his skirmishers, which it looks like that's what he's doing already. And then he's just going to be able to smash this portion of the army and take it in stride. And then by the time the guards get over, there's really not going to be a whole lot they can do. And same for this cavalry. This cavalry, very, very out of place. I think he's just trying to protect his artillery, but I just don't think that's a good use of, especially, you know, those expensive cavalry units. All right, let's take a look. Okay, so cannons starting to fire here. It looks like we have 1 8-pounder, 1 12-pounder. Skirmisher battle in the woods is taking place along with a cavalry engagement on the left flank of Blue. And both, oh goodness, that light infantry is going to get absolutely pizzoned. But it might be able to hold long enough. And this engagement, I don't know, maybe there's room for Ooga Booga to sneak some of his dragoons around. Probably sneak around this way, but he definitely needs to bring in his left wing of infantry to isolate this cavalry fight and make sure that these infantry cannot join in. These skirmishers, they are going to take the woods. The cannons are in a very deadly spot to start blasting the center of Red's line, or maybe even start shooting at these guards. And there's enough units here to just hold off. And see, this is what skirmishers are for. Just put them in a place that you need to delay your opponent from getting to. And if they get rolled over, okay, fine, but the time they buy is so valuable. So really nice use of his skirms there by Ooga Booga, whereas it looks like General M's kind of using his skirms as more conventional units. And again, the guard not being deployed, that is a huge blunder in my opinion. Even the Grenadiers at this point are far too back to do anything meaningful. And what I think is going to happen is this line is just going to get crushed. And I think General M's going to see it too late, rush everything in, and he's just going to be taken piecemeal. All right, cavalry engagement is starting. Light infantry actually holding the other cavalry very well, and the dragoons sneaking around the flanks. And see, this is what happens when you don't have the numbers in a cavalry engagement. Yes, this Cur and this Goon are better on their own, but again, because of the lack of infantry support, it looks like Ooga Booga is able to pull units from his left flank to win this cavalry fight while flanking with his superior numbers. And this is just going to be a very easy rollover. And these cavalry moving across the river, by the time they get here, I mean, there's so much infantry, there's so much supporting cavalry, and the artillery are not even going to get touched. Meanwhile, they're going to get a lot of shooting in on these approaching guards so that they'll be so battered by the time they get to the front that the line infantry will actually be a pretty fair fight. Now, there's a lot of enfilade fire potential from these guns, But again, I mean, 2 guns firing, Infilade is not going to break a line. So yeah, gonna be a very, very bloody massacre here in the snow. Oh man, it's like Borodino, it's just not even though. Okay, goons wrapping around, guards finally approaching, Kerr's coming from the rear, and this is an overall nice strategy from General M. So General M, in case you do watch this, I like what you're going for. You're going for this wide outflank, but it's too slow, my man. It's not decisive enough. And yes, this big cavalry would be a great hammer if there were infantry to pin it down, but you've already lost most of your right flank to begin with, and these guards are not going to be able to occupy this many units in order for the cavalry to serve any kind of purpose. So this is going to be a very, very easy rollover from the looks of it by Uga Booga, and look at that, slowly rolling up the line. Grenadiers far too back to do anything of note. And yes, the guards in isolation will do well against the line infantry. Look at that, they're even getting into the artillery. So there's a really nice engagement here on the right flank. And if it was complemented by a similar hold in the middle and the left, I would actually give General M's army some hope of winning against superior numbers. But, you know, losing one flank and then getting a small victory on the other, yeah, that it ain't gonna be enough there, Jim. So Uga Booga's units coming in to reinforce, skirmishers continuing to skirmish, but a lot of them have been driven off the battlefield. And yes, Uga Booga's flank has been destroyed for the most part here. He is going to lose most of his guns, but they did the exact thing they needed to. They held off the enemy long enough. They did enough damage to the guards on the way in that the remaining blue reinforcements are going to be able to do a nice job here. And this, hold on, one second. I want to show you guys, because this is a great example of skirmishers. I like what Uga Booga's doing here, you know, putting them in to kind of slow down the guns of red. But it just shows you that these skirmishers have been fighting these cannon crews for a while now, and they still haven't even come close to breaking them. So if you think that skirmishers are like a unit you can send in to break artillery, you're going to be sorely disappointed. You cannot treat them like conventional units. You have to use them in the support role that they were made for. All right. So the battlefield has now turned 90 degrees, so now we're facing this way. 2 cannons still going for red. He's going to lose these 2 batteries. 1 battery for Uga Booga still in place, but I mean, the amount of infantry that he still has alive, and this is a lot of healthy line infantry. Yes, it looks like the guards could pull it off, but there's just not going to be enough. These skirmishers are going to get rolled over. This cavalry will win their local engagement, but I mean, they're not going to have enough time to sweep up the line before these reinforcements arrive. And so, I mean, it's a really good effort by General M. I love the fact that he's not giving up, but it does look like the Red Army is now on the verge of a rout, and we're going to speed it up a little bit. Last guard breaks, and that is the game. You know, I got to give it to General M. For a 1200 facing a 1700, you could have a lot worse performance. I liked the tenacity, fighting all the way till the very end. And there's my pre-recording going out, but that's okay. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this battle. Again, Uga Booga, thank you for sending it. Respect and GGs to both players. Guys, I'll be back with a grand battle next week. It's going to be insane. But until then, have a great day. Have a great life. See you later.